So I want to pick up on something Tom said. Because Bunning is a lame duck, do you think his filters are off and he's just letting it fly?
I think you'll hear from Bunning before it's over again this year. I think he's not going to stay the party line. And, his party, this wasn't a party thing as much as it was one man saying, we've not been operating this right up here. Because his party thought this is hurting us, and this is one of those things that's a do not touch type of thing. And he spoke up and said, I think that we've got to do something and start saying where the money's coming from and not to just spend it. I don't know.
Here's the thing I wish he had done, and this is the thing I think that hurt him more than anything else. It is proven that his behavior in times past has not been consistent with the stand he took. What I wish he had done, Tom, is said, in looking back, I realized I made a mistake. And we need to take this stand, and I'm willing to take this stand now. You know what I mean? Would have given it maybe a little more credibility in saying, rather than just saying, okay, now's the time to do it, when you can look back at the record and kind of go, well, I'm not sure he always believed that.
Actually, he did say that. In one of the news clips, he came on and said, he said, they're looking at every vote I've ever made, and he said, I wish I had some of those votes back and I could revote those things now, because he said I was wrong in them. I heard him on the news program on Thursday morning, I guess it was, and I'm not saying Senator Bunning hasn't made mistakes, and I'm not saying he's always done things wrong. What I'm saying is this is an issue. Forget who did it. Just take Bunning out of the picture. This is an issue that needed to be brought up in the Congress of this country, and it got just almost laughed at because nobody wants to be fiscally responsible. Because of that, I think now Senator Bunning has got a lot of people saying that's exactly what we wanted. And this election in Kentucky for his replacement should become more interesting, because we're going to have people saying, yes, I believe that I want fiscal responsibility. Other people are going to be saying, well, he's against the people who are out of work. Well, he stood up there and just got through the clip that was used and said 100% of the senators, that included him, want people to be taken care of. I just want it to be done the right way.
But, the thing is again, the struggle for me in all of this is a lot of the politicians and the parties don't listen to the people. And here's an example where he's saying, I'm listening to the people, and people want us to pay as we go. And if there's a lesson to get out of this, I would hope it would be for politicians to go, we need to wake up, and we need to start listening to the people. Yes, we need to put people back to work. Yes, we need to do some of these other things. But at what point did we stop listening to what the American people wanted or thought we needed and bring that into the picture? And so I think, if nothing else, Bunning is a little bit of a wake-up call there to say, guys, maybe we've got so self-centered in ourselves and our parties and our own agendas that we aren't listening beyond that.
Yeah, to me there are really two issues, and Senator Bunning's action only touched on one of them, the pay-as-you-go thing. I don't think he didn't come across as one who was against the extension, but just wanted to pay for the extension. The second issue, and it's a moral issue, both of them are, but it's a moral issue. If our focus is to increase employment, to get people back to work, does the extension of unemployment benefits contribute to that, the extension of it? And if so, how long do we extend it? I think that's a question probably that will not be asked, because it will get those who come up, it will get stigmatized as you don't care about people. It's not that.
Hey, John, I think there's a double-edged sword there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I know people right now that have been out of work, and I mean, they're working to find a job. I mean, I know, because I see it every day. They're sending resumes out. What interviews they do have, they get back and say, well, you're turned down because you're too qualified for this job, or whatever. And there's nothing more disheartening than to say, we're not going to hire you because you're. There was a guy on last night, Tom Brokaw, I believe it was, did a story about baby boomers. And this guy had like a $250,000 a year job, and he's been out of work 2 years. And he said, I applied for jobs a fourth of what I made, and yet I would have been happy to get it, and they won't give it to me because I used to make $250,000. And so the dilemma is, how do you deal with the people who do write it out versus people who are genuinely looking and just, it's not there?
Well, and all of us here as leaders of congregations, I almost said pastors, but leaders of congregations, we deal with those instances, those one-on-one things, those individual cases. Senators and representatives, the government doesn't get that. They can't pass a policy for the whole country and say, except for this guy who's been really trying hard. And even when we feel for that person that's really trying hard, and we as congregants and congregational leaders try to help those persons with us, I don't want my government saying, well, here's the policy, here's the except for this fellow over here and this fellow over here. They've got to deal with society as a whole and what advances our nation as a whole.
And we're dealing with a societal thing here, I think, that it's affecting us. For a number of years, going back into the last decade or so, underneath that was being said, we've got to have illegals in this country, or we've got to have a lot of immigration in this country to take some of the jobs that are lower paying jobs, because people in this country necessarily don't want to take those jobs. Now, that wasn't being said a lot openly, but that was kind of what was going on. Hey, I can tell you people that I know who said, you know, I'm not going to flip hamburgers at a McDonald's. And I heard a guy on Paul Harris' show this week on one of the radio stations say, you know, I could get a job at one of the fast foods, but he says, I'm making more on unemployment than I would make if I could work full time for there. So he said, I'm not going to do that. Now, if I run out of unemployment, then yeah, I'll take that job, but I'm not going to take that job until I'm forced to take that job. It's a different, you take the job until you can find a better job. And the mindset of many, and I'm not saying right or wrong here, I'm not trying to be
judgmental, I'm just saying that's a different mindset in our country, and I think it's going to affect, or could affect even, immigration policy. You know, if people start taking these jobs, and then you're going to see tension develop within society because people are competing for the same jobs. All of this has some far-reaching things in society that has a lot of moral implications, not just for this one vote, if you will.
I'd like to move on to That'll end our discussion today on Moral Side of the News. I'd like to thank our panel, Joe Atcher, Tom Mobley, Conrad Moore, Stan Miles, and John Slider. You can now follow us on Twitter. You can go to twitter.com/moralside. We'll post the topics and panelists for each week. That's twitter.com/moralside, all one word. Thanks for joining us on Moral Side of the News this week. We wish you a good week, and we'll see you again as the conversation continues here on Moral Side of the News. Good day.
Side of the News is one of the longest-running public affairs programs in America. Moral Side panelists are part of the WHAS Crusade for Children Advisory Council. They volunteer their time, ensuring that 100% of your donation to the crusade directly improves the lives of children with special needs. Learn more about the Crusade for Children at WHAScrusade.org.